Thank you very much. Hi there, my name is Jeff, with me is Matt, and as we get started today, I want to talk to you about this light bulb I'm holding in my hand. See, I'm holding it because we think a lot about electricity at CPUsage, how great of a utility it is. We can screw this light bulb into just about any lamp and it'll always work. We can take that lamp and plug it into just about any electrical outlet, and again, it always works. We don't have to think about it. Now, wouldn't it be great if that's how compute applications worked? If you could plug in any application, consume as much compute power as you wanted, and not have to think about it? Unfortunately, that's not how the world works today, and let us explain. Meet our friend Robert. Robert's the chief scientist at a biotech company whose customers ask them to analyze 100 million molecules every single week. Each molecule takes about 5 minutes to process, so we know they have to perform about 8 million hours of compute in a matter of 5 days. So they're going to go to the cloud at massive scale, but that's a big project. And you know what? Robert's not alone. There's someone just like Robert at every oil and gas company, every financial service company, and every media company across the globe. And they have to think about all the little things that go into consuming compute at massive scale in the cloud. And it's a big project. Well, we think it's stupid to spend months on computing in the cloud, or setting up your compute environment in the cloud, and that's why we've created CPUsage, a dead simple platform for scientists, researchers, and software developers to distribute virtually any application across any cloud at any scale in a matter of minutes, not months. So let's think about it. The old way has somebody spending months doing software development and software deployment, or the CPUsage way has them up and running in a matter of just a couple minutes on any cloud infrastructure. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Matt to run us through a quick demonstration. Matt?
Thanks, Jeff. So for this demonstration, I'm going to go through an example where we have to we have to scrape 1,000 websites. So my boss just came into my office and said, we have to scrape 1,000 websites, pull down that content, and store it in our Amazon S3 storage bucket. So there's no way I could possibly get that done by the end of the day if I didn't have the power of hundreds or thousands of cloud computers to do that. So let's see how we could do that on CPUsage. The first step is you log into our website, you create a sandbox, or you create an application. This generates a custom sandbox specifically for your applications. And so all you have to do is log into that sandbox the same way you would an Amazon instance and install your application. So in this case, we're installing a lightweight video or a lightweight web scraper and some Amazon Web Services tools that we're going to use to push that scraped data back up to our Amazon S3 storage bucket. The next thing you do once you installed and configured the tools is deploy that sandbox. This is where we take those tools that we just installed and deploy it to the cloud. This is what allows CPUsage to push that data out to hundreds and thousands of instances. And here we have a list of URLs that we're going to scrape, and I've written a very simple script to push each of those website addresses out to CPUsage to process that. And so we're going to go ahead and kick that task off, which is going to loop through and submit each of these websites to CPUsage. Right now, it's spinning up 1,000 nodes in the background. It's provisioning each of those instances with our web scraping application. It's running that task, and it's taking that information that we're scraping and pushing it back down to our storage. So in a matter of a couple minutes, we've been able to build a web scraper that scraped over 1,000 websites on 1,000 cloud instances. We didn't have to do anything to make that happen other than run our web scraper.
Thank you, Matt. So I know this is super geeky stuff, and you're saying, how many people really need to do this? Well, it's actually a massive industry. High-performance computing is already $29 billion across the globe, and $1 billion of that is being spent on the cloud already. We think in the US, there's at least 60,000 customers that need our solution. And you know what? We're the right guys to go after this. Prior to CPUsage, I came from a background 10 years in strategic planning and finance at companies like Nike, where I helped grow a small but important business unit from $3 million a year in revenue to $30 million a year, while also helping Nike launch their very first customer portal, Nike.net.
And I spent about 10 years at Intel working in various software engineering roles, and I helped them deploy their business platform PC.
We rounded out the team with the lead engineer, Chuck Jewell, who has 16 years in software development experience, and a brilliant young web developer, Jace Poirier-Pinto, up in Portland, where we're located. And of course, we couldn't do this without great advisors and great investors. We're lucky to call Mike Jones of Science an advisor. Damien Selfor, the CEO of Media Temple, is one of our investors. And our round was led by Murado Venture Partners and Ash Patel, formerly of Yahoo. So we invite you today to join us at www.cpusage.com and check out how we're changing the way people interact with the cloud today. Thank you.
Do you guys have pilots running?
Yeah, so we just launched our beta about 8 weeks ago. We've had about 400 signups. About 38 of them have become active users. Just last night when we were at dinner, we had text message notifications telling us that we were running about 1,200 instances at Amazon Web Services, and it all went incredibly smooth. No problems going up or down.
Does this just run on top of Amazon?
Currently, we're only on top of Amazon, but our goal is to be infrastructure agnostic. So one of the important things we found is that where the data is stored is really important when it comes to where do you compute it. So we want to be able to serve our customers wherever they store their data. So whether that's S3, whether that's with Google, Windows, or even in the private cloud on top of OpenStack, we need to be able to help them compute wherever that data is. So yes, Amazon today, but we'll be launching support for other infrastructures over the next few months.
What do people need to be able to use and do to be able to get access to your service? Like what kind of skills do they need?
Really, all they have to know is their application. So these are people like researchers, scientists, and so forth that already know how to run their application. And so what we're doing is we're saying, take that application, deploy it on our cloud in our single sandbox environment, and that's the same as they would have to do on their own computer at their office. And so really it's just as simple as installing their application and writing a very small script to tell us how to run that application.
How do you deal with security?
There's a lot of things we do for security. Mainly, since we're running on Amazon Web Services, we control the instances, and we have containerization technology that essentially encapsulates all of our customers' processes inside their own container. So we can run multiple customers' tasks on a single instance on Amazon on the same instance, but they're completely encapsulated from each other, so they have no view of the outside world outside of their own container.
Security is also an opportunity for us. So we could do other high security plans and charge for that, but there's also a big opportunity to go to the private cloud where a lot of people are playing because they're so worried about security. So we can play there and we can profit on that need.
So Ash is a friend of mine and he's really fucking smart. So if you got him, that's great. Congratulations. Customer acquisition. Who's your primary customer? How are you focusing on that? You've got 4 nerds running the company. How are you going to build community?
Yeah, so we've built a platform that's very agnostic to the application as well as the infrastructure, but we know we have to focus. So we're focused on the life sciences and the media space right now. So that's things like gene simulations, video encodings, graphic renderings. We're also specifically targeted to the small enterprise. So we found that most scientific R&D shops have an average of about 8 employees, and that's great for us because they spend at least $2,000 a month in the cloud, between $2,000 and $20,000 a month. But they're so small they can't have an IT person. They don't have a DevOps guy that's doing this work for them. So it's a great opportunity for us to come in and really solve a problem. But it is going to be a direct sale, so we do have to go make that sale, but it's going to result in recurring revenue every single month.
Does
so
that
we think
mean
it's worth it.
You're going to have to provide a lot of customer support for, I'm trying to think of my buddies at Stanford that are doing life science stuff. They don't know anything about tech.
Correct, and so because they don't know anything about tech, that's why they should be using us. But you're right, it also is going to mean some support, and we have thought about that. We have to figure out we have to support our product and make sure we're not trying to support their application. So to be honest with you, we do see that as something we have to figure out, and we do have to draw the line and be careful to provide great support, but not try to provide support for their application because we're not the application guys, they are.
And to add to that, there's opportunity for us to charge for support too if they do want us to help come in and
Like,
support
could you
their
partner with some of the bigger applications like MATLAB and whatnot so that you can get better distribution?
Absolutely, that's on our roadmap. That's what some of the competitors in the industry have done, and we think it's a great opportunity. We've started out as this very agnostic platform because we want to see where the customer leads us, but it is somewhere that we need to be looking.
And why can't someone else do this? That's my other question.
They can do it, but we argue they shouldn't do it. So your friends, like you mentioned, they know their application, they know life sciences, but they don't know how to run 1,000 instances in the cloud at Amazon. They could spend 8 months doing it, or they can come to us and be doing it in 15 minutes.
But someone, you get some traction, competitors, right? You get some traction, people see what you're doing, and like, hey, I like what they're doing. They have a business behind it. Why can't I put 10 nerds against it and build something?
Sure, they absolutely can, but we've got an awesome team that's going after it. We'll do it better and faster than they will. And to Tony's point, we'll deliver happiness in the cloud, and we'll win our customers that way as well.
Awesome. That's great.
All right, thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.